Next up, at UFC Vegas 103, we have the main event of the evening. We have Manel Kape taking on Asu Almabayev. Manel Kape was supposed to fight, what the hell's his name? Brandon Royval. Brandon Royval gets hurt. He's out. They tried to figure out what to do. Jacob made the case for Charles Johnson. It made sense. Guy's on a 4-fight win streak. But ultimately, they reached outside of the card instead of messing with what was already there, and they grabbed Asu Almabayev. Asu Almabayev, pretty good fighter, probably earned a slot here, at least with the recent streak that he's on. But first, we got Manel Kape. 20-7 in his career, 4-1 in his last 5. He's coming off that incredible win over Bruno Silva, taking on Asu Almabayev. 21-2 in his career, 5-0 in his last 5, riding an insane 17-fight win streak. Manel Kape, as we all know by now, fast, explosive striker. He has no issues chasing knockouts. He is a southpaw. He's got good pressure. He'll bounce in and out of range really well. He's a decent wrestler when he needs to be, and he will close distance when he wants to. He's very fun to watch. He can put on a show, and he's coming off that career-defining win over Bruno Silva, where despite getting kicked in the groin a couple of times, he just took over and started styling on that guy. He's taking on Asu Almabayev. Asu Almabayev is a flashy striker and a dominant wrestler. He can control that striking range. He can even work in a spinning attack or two before shooting big takedowns and controlling on top. He doesn't go looking for submissions, but he does do a great job grabbing them, snatching them up in scrambles. He is strong. He sets a nice pace. He has plenty of cardio. What am I looking at? What the hell was that?
Oh, yeah, it turns into a rocket.
Oh, dude, I thought you had a light that you, like a cop. I was like, why is there a light hitting me? He's coming off the decision over Mateusz Nicolau, where he had a knockdown, but he only went 1 for 6 in takedown attempts. And the 1 for 6 against Nicolau is what worries me here, because I came into this wanting to pick the wrestler. I wanted to pick Asu. But then his most recent performance of wrestling wasn't what it's going to need to be to win this fight. So I'm going to lean Kape because he has got more confidence than ever. His striking has always been very good. Takedown defense has also always been pretty good. For Asu to win this fight, he needs to come forward, be busy, be creative, and work in takedowns. He basically has to get Kape frozen because of the takedown attempts. Frozen like Elsa, Izzy would say. Almost like the staring contest that he had with Makayev, because the threat from Makayev to shoot takedowns was so big that Manel Kape couldn't quite commit to anything. So if Asu sets that tone early, I'm going to shoot, I'm going to shoot, I'm going to shoot, well, then we could end up in a situation where Kape doesn't want to commit to anything because of those potential takedowns. I am going to lean Kape. Asu on short notice, 5 full rounds, not having the success wrestling in his last fight that we'd like to have him in this fight. I got to go Manel Kape, but this does... main events tend to have more upsets than the rest of the card. What do you think, Jakey boy?
Yeah, I've been a Manel Kape hater for a long time. I'm pretty sure I had him versus Bruno, but it was like I told people I picked, like, every time I pick for Kape, he loses. Every time I pick him, every time I pick for him, he loses. Every time I pick against him, it seems like he wins the fight. So I've been a Kape hater, but I will tell you this: it feels like, I don't know if you feel the same way, but it feels like there's a lot of people betting Asu. It feels like, to me, I usually have a pretty good pulse on who people think lock of the week should be and who the underdog favorite is, and it feels like the public dog is leaning a little bit towards Asu, and that honestly doesn't surprise me, because it seems like, oh, this younger whatever, even though he's not really that young, like, non-stop wrestler is what people think he is going to take down, because we've seen Kape get that right. Makayev took him down. We've seen him getting taken down. Now we got this non-stop wrestler, so I'm going to play the dog because I think there's good value there, and I think Manel Kape is going to fucking smoke your value. I'm not even a Manel Kape fan like that, but he showed a next level kind of killer instinct against Bruno. As Angelo mentioned, I love the confidence, the swagger that he's bringing in, because before it seemed like it was all talk. Right? He would talk all this shit, and he would come in and do all this, and then he just fucking wouldn't do anything. And he was losing close fights because of it. But now he's brought the swagger into a little bit more of an intensity in the fights. And if you're betting Asu, you have to assume, and this is kind of the same thing I said with Tatiana and Wei Li. I said, if you're betting Tatiana, she's got to get takedowns. First, she's got to get the takedowns. Then she's got to get the control, and she's got to keep the control enough to win the round, and then she's got to do that 3 separate fucking times when every round starts on the feet. That's the same thing with Asu. He can't hang. I know he's got the spinning, he's got kind of wild strike. He can't hang in the striking against Manel Kape. He needs to get the takedowns. Can he get a takedown in 3 separate rounds, keep the control, and score enough
5
with Vegas judges? Hey, fuck shit. How many rounds do you need to win the fucking fight?
It's a 5-round fight.
You have to do it for 3 fucking rounds because that's all you need to fucking win. Somebody tried to do that on Twitter too. I'm like, hey, dumbass. You only have to win 3. You don't have to win all 5 rounds. Okay? You need to do it. You got to get the takedown in 3 separate rounds, the control enough to win the round in 3 separate rounds, and you got to do it 3 fucking times. I don't see it done against Manel Kape. He's taking it to that next level, and I think he fucking smokes this kid, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. We came to the same. I wanted to pick Asu, and I'm not a Kape hater. I just was. I love wrestlers. I love my wrestlers. Anybody who can control where the fight goes. Somebody commented on a video today saying, Angelo, if you could pick any one skill that's most important in MMA, what would it be? Wrestling. Because you can control if the fight stays up or down. And that's what I was hoping for Asu before I started to watch the tape again. Some fighters, I don't need to watch tape, right? I've seen them a million times. Asu, I rewatched the tape, and I'm like, God damn, he should have been ragdolling Nicolau, and he couldn't.
And here's what I'll say about Asu is, in my opinion, because surprisingly, of the 2 of them, Asu actually has 5-round experience. He's had a decision win in a 5-round fight. Cops never went 5 rounds. I would turn it into a cardio fight. I would just spam and spam and spam and just hope that you could just beat him on cardio, even though he was already preparing for 5 rounds and you were only 3 rounds. Yeah. It is what it is. I would just, because I don't think he can strike with this guy, and I think if he tries to time the takedowns, they're not going to work. I would just try and test the cardio and just try to hope that way. If I was game planning, that's what I would say. Just fucking trust your cardio, kid, and just fucking go for it.
Yeah, I mean, and was he booked? I don't think he was booked then.
He was on this card.
Asu was?
Yeah. He got moved.
Oh, and then his fight,
it was going to be him or Charles. No, I think he was going to fight
really?
The Brazilian, Alan Nascimento. Does that make sense?
Oh, Alan Nascimento? I don't know. I must have not seen the card when this all it's about 3 weeks, so well then yeah, then no concerns. I'm not worried about his cardio anyway, but definitely no concerns if he was already on this card. I don't know why I didn't realize that. So it's not everybody's talking short notice, so it's not really short notice, just a move up on the whole thing. It should be a fun fight, though, because we're going to find out. I think it's better for the division if Manel Kape is good. He looked incredible in that last fight. The problem is, and I didn't give this caveat earlier, but the problem is he did look incredible in that fight, but that's against Bruno Silva. And Bruno Silva's like kind of reckless. After he was getting tagged up by cleaner technique, he just started really brawling, which just made it worse for him, right? The sloppier he got headhunting, the cleaner Manel got, and just the worse it got for him. But we'll see what happens here if Manel plants and Asu shoots. We'll figure it out. But Manel Kape, $9,000 in DraftKings Fantasy. Asu Almabayev, $7,200 in DraftKings Fantasy. It's probably a pick your side, honestly. Because Manel could win this fight pretty convincingly and still not score well. If it's just volume, cleaner technique, but no real takedowns, no knockdowns. Or Asu could come forward, get the takedowns that everybody thinks he might get, and then be worth that money. But either way, the artificial intelligence will give you its pick. I'll give you mine. Jacob will give you his. Bet Sam, Artem. Everybody will give you their picks, their bets, their breakdowns. We have tools that will do research for you, build DraftKings fantasy lines for you, and everything else.
If you haven't liked the stream, make sure you like the stream. Like the stream. Like the stream. If you haven't liked the stream.